What's up, guys? Matt here, and today is vlog number 22. Okay, so in today's vlog, I want to stay kind of on the same subject because we're getting a lot of feedback and a lot of questions on the whole silhouette cameo thing and starting your business with a silhouette cameo or a smaller cutter versus, for example, a Graphtec or a roll-in cutter. So here's my take on it. What I did off the start is I started with the least expensive vinyl cutter I could. And there's only one reason why I did that is I couldn't afford the larger cutter. I didn't have $1,500 to $2,000 to get into a Graphtec or a roll-in or one of the nicer cutters with a servo motor. Now, a lot of questions I'm getting is, should I just start my business with a silhouette cameo or an inexpensive cutter? And the answer to that question is yes, if that's the way that you have to start your business. So what I mean by that is if you only have enough money to start with, for example, a silhouette cameo, then it's a great cutter to start with because that's better than not starting your business at all. And that's the way I kind of looked at it is, you know what, this is all I can afford off the start because I didn't have enough money to get a nicer cutter. However, I knew my long-term goal with the business was to get one of the Graphtecs or the roll-in cutters with the servo motor, and it's going to be a lot quicker. It's going to reduce a lot of time as far as production. It's going to increase my productivity, which is going to increase my margins and everything else. So, business-wise, 100% it makes sense if you can swing it to get the Graphtec or the roll-in right off the start. Here's the downfall to the silhouette cameo or any of the smaller 12-inch or 9-inch cutters. Every single time you get a roll and you want to buy your heat transfer vinyls or different materials or intermediate signed vinyls, FDC signed vinyl on the website or whatever it is, buy a roll to get that quantity pricing. Every time you get something on a roll like that, the problem is you have to trim it down. So all of the Easy Weed is 15 inches wide or 20 inches wide glitter, or the holographics is 20 inches wide. So all of the different materials have a different width. The problem with that, with all of the different smaller cutters, 12 inches and below, is you can't fit that material through the cutter. So every single piece of vinyl you have to trim down in order to fit it. So if it's 15 inches wide, that means you need to trim it into a 12 inch by 15 inch to fit it into your cutter. Think of every design that you create and think of the amount of money over the course of a year that you're going to waste, and then think about that when you're purchasing your cutter. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's say we have a 12 inch by 15 inch sheet of Easy Weed heat transfer vinyl. We're cutting an awesome design out of our kids pack, okay, and we're making a birthday shirt. Let's just say that shirt is 9 inches by 8 inches, okay? Here's the issue, 9 inches by 8 inches, and we have a custom name or different things like that. So let's say we do a custom name on the back of the shirt as well, and we can we're gonna trim it down. We're gonna fill up that 12 inches or whatever it is. But the problem is we won't be able to cut two of them because it's not a continuous sheet or roll because we had to trim it down. So the problem with that is, even though we're 12 inches by 15 inches, let's say we have to go 9 inches for the length, correct? We still have 6 inches of material that is going to turn into a scrap every single time. Okay, does that make sense? So think of the amount of material and the amount of scraps that are going to build up so quickly when you can't cut it in a roll like that. And you have to trim down every sheet. For example, the glitter is going to be trim it down to, is 20 inches wide, 12 inches by 20 inches, okay? So that's where there's a big advantage, a huge advantage with the 24-inch vinyl cutters, because you can get that 5-yard, 10-yard, 50-yard roll of heat transfer vinyl and continuously cut each of them. So let's say it's that 8-inch length design. Well, if it's only 15 inches, we can't fit that, obviously, on that length to fit two of them. However, we can fit 3 of them, technically, if it were continuous. in a continuous roll. So we can get 3 designs on a continuous roll versus only 2 designs on individual sheets. Okay, so hope this is making sense, but I wanted to get into detail a little bit more. Is the Silhouette Cameo a good cutter? Heck yes, it's great. It's great. A lot of people think it's just a crafting cutter. It's not just a crafting cutter. You can run a business off the Silhouette Cameo or some of the smaller 12-inch cutters. However, it's not going to be as cost effective for you. Okay, you're going to be trimming your materials. You're going to be wasting more material. You're going to take longer cutting all the materials. It isn't going to cut the template material as good. So you've got to add time as far as weeding. You might be poking out some holes. There's going to be time involved and increased time involved in the weeding process of your heat transfer vinyls because it isn't going to cut quite as good and it might take a little bit longer to weed. So adding in all of these different factors, that's where you need to look at your budget and say, okay, the amount of material I'm going to waste, the amount of time it's going to add to my projects, the amount of, like, if I have a big order of 25 shirts, how much quicker I can produce all of those shirts when I have a 24-inch cutter versus the 12-inch cutter. So there's a lot of different factors. Don't only think about the cost of the cutter because there's a lot of other costs down the road that getting a smaller cutter or a slower cutter or kind of inferior, I call it an inferior cutter, doesn't mean it's not a good cutter, okay? But think about it. $269 for the Silhouette Cameo 3 or $1,695 or $1,795 for the Roland, right? Huge difference in price. Well, heck yeah, there better be a huge difference in the speed and the quality and the quietness and the motor and the durability. The Roland, I've been running a Roland for going on 10 years now, and Roland GX24, and it still runs perfect, okay? It's built to last. The GraphTech is built to last, okay? Some of the less expensive cutters are not built to last, but they're built to start your business, and that's the key. So, in conclusion, in review, if you can afford the nicer servo cutter, 100%, if I could have afforded it then, I would have never touched the smaller cutters. I would have gone straight to the big boy cutter and never had to upgrade. I had zero option, no chance to afford that cutter, so I had to start with the smaller cutter. If I could have, 100%, I would have started with that, but think about it. Had I never started my business, had I never started with that smaller cutter, I would never be in this video right now, creating this video, teaching you guys everything that I learned, right? So I'm glad I started with that cutter. Doesn't mean that, just because I didn't have the Roland or GraphTech, it doesn't mean my business was any worse than anybody else's. It took me longer to do stuff. I wasted more materials and things like that, but it got me going. That's the key. If you don't get started, you can never be successful. So hope this vlog helped you guys out today. Hope you guys are enjoying the vlogs. Comment right there. Comment below. Give me some more questions. Comment right there. Click the thumbs up. Let me know you're liking the vlogs. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel there. See all the other vlogs right on up there. Check out the website right there. This guy right here is a pretty cool video too. We'll see you guys tomorrow.